Good morning, everyone. Welcome to balmy White Plains. We're beyond sunny and bright for the middle of May. A little post-mortem on the Sabres loss last night in overtime. Another season comes to a close, but better to come to close in the middle of May than middle of December. So it was a big step forward for the Buffalo Sabres. And the good news is we continue to take many big steps forward for the Power Authority and CANAL Corporation. So look forward to having a good discussion about all of that over the next couple hours. And so with that, I'm pleased to kick things off along with my fellow trustees, Dennis Trainor, Laurie Wheelock, Lewis Warren, Michael Cusick, Cecily Morris, and distinguished B. Gonzalez. Justin, Adam, Joe, the team are assembled and will continue to do so over the course of the morning. So big welcome to them. And as always, this meeting's been duly noticed as required by open meetings law, and hence pleased to call the meeting to order. We will have an opportunity to review the materials, including the agenda. Unless anyone has recommendations for amendments to that agenda, I'd ask for motion to approve it as presented. All right, Dennis, thank you. Laurie, second. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. We also had a chance to look at the contractors subject to approval, recommended for approval of this meeting, and everyone's given due notice to Felisa. So if there's any late breaking changes or developments, please so advise. We'll have a good run of the show today. Good series of presentations bringing current on all the moving parts and pieces, from renewables to nuclear to operations with a big customer focus. Financial story continues to improve and trend in a positive direction, as always, managing the assorted risks, which seem to increase every day, if not every hour, but the team's sharply focused there as well. But as we often do, we want to start an executive session. I think this one will be relatively brief, half hour or so. And with that, I'd ask for a motion to conduct an executive session pursuant to Section 105 of the Public Officers Law. Thank you, Lewis. Second B. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. We are in executive session. See you plus or minus 30 minutes. Thank you very much. Welcome back, everyone. I think we did a pretty good job, plus or minus 30 minutes. It looks like we're at 31, so or maybe less with our little opening monologue. So thanks for rejoining us. If I could, I'd ask for a motion to resume the meeting in open session. Laurie, thank you. Second. Lewis, Dennis, B. All in favor? Aye. Cecily and Michael included. No votes, as always, were taken during executive session. As I said, it's all about the customer today. That's the theme of the day, as Justin has indicated to us. Good round of reports from Justin, Joe, Adam, Alexis, and a little finance committee report to wrap things up. So fresh back from Nashville and large power council meeting group. Didn't bring any cowboy boots or cowboy hats back with us, but
buy one, you get two free there.
Is that right? Okay. All right. Yeah. Then you got three. What are you going to do with that? Okay.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Good to be back.
Large public power, right? I forgot
Correct.
one P. I forgot Correct. One P.
Yes.
Sorry. Large public power council.
Well, again, good morning, everyone. Trustees, NYPA colleagues, members of the public. Great to be with you here today for our May board meeting. As the chairman said, as we've done the last couple of meetings, trying to have a theme that cuts across the various reports that you'll hear today. And today's theme is the work around our customer is critical to our activities and our success, and it's why we're here, and it's why we're in the business, to serve those customers, and it's something we obviously can't lose sight of. So I'm going to talk to you about that, but also a little bit on our 95th anniversary that we have just celebrated. Recap of some Earth Week activities, and highlight the canal's opening day, which was last Friday. And then also talk a little bit about our Supplier Diversity Expo, which just continues to grow. We're coming off another successful Supplier Diversity Expo. And then, as we do every meeting, talk a little bit about where we are with our renewables efforts and where we are with the advanced nuclear initiative that we're leading for the state. So first, on the 95th anniversary, 95 years ago, we were founded, and I don't think the founders would recognize us today. We've come a long way since then. Started out as a bold public power experiment, and now we're a statewide engine of innovation, economic development, and stewardship. Our founders never could have imagined the pace of change that we navigate now, but they would absolutely recognize the spirit behind our work, belief in public service, a drive to innovate on behalf of the people, and a steadfast commitment to the residents of the state, and, as we'll hear, to our customers. So, guided by that same spirit that founded us, we're modernizing our assets as we evolve. We're advancing renewable development, and, as the governor called for, leading advanced nuclear efforts to establish a 24/7 backbone of baseload power for the state. And as we look to our 100th anniversary, which will be here before we know it, our work will continue to shape public power for the next century. So I mentioned Earth Week. See Trustee Gonzalez there, who helped us out during our Earth Month activities across NYPA and canals. We, as an organization, were everywhere around the state, from community cleanups to EV outreach events, sustainability programming across the entire state. And just to mention a few things we did, we hosted a sustainability fair at the Niagara Power Vista. We ran a community tree planting day at BG. We did State Volunteer Week of Service with events in Buffalo, Syracuse, Yonkers, and Queens. We did an electric vehicle showcase in Albany, and we did shoreline cleanups along the Hudson River and the Canalway Trail. So thanks again to Trustee Gonzalez and Trustee Morris, who joined us in those efforts. And we thank you both for your participation, which, of course, by virtue of your presence, reinforces our commitment to stewardship and service. Moving on to canals, opening day, May 15, celebrated in Waterford. I heard it was a bit chilly there, but we had a great day. Number of boats lined up, as they do every year in Waterford, Lock E2. Opening day, always obviously a moment of pride for the system, especially for the teams who work year round really to prepare for that day. So it's a big deal when we actually kick off, and you, as I know, Laurie and Dee and Cecily have been there the last few years. You get to meet people from all over the country as they wait to head back home from wherever they spent their winter with their boats. So it's something that gets a lot of attention, press coverage, and all. So we were excited to kick it off in a timely way. As you know, last year we had some problems with water levels that led to kind of a slow start in our bicentennial year, but we're off and running in 2026, and we had a great launch in Waterford last Friday.
You told me Ben opened the lock for us?
We did. Ben, Ben's with us today, and he opened up the lock for the first time. And I know you had a great day, and saw a great picture of you turning the crank there.
A lot of pressure.
Did you get trained, Ben? Did you do a training program before you opened?
I had somebody whispering in my ear.
Small agreements. So turning now to the customer theme that we referenced here, beginning with one of our most important customers, the City of New York. Our relationships with the customers are strong across the state, and new administrations come in, and so as we've done in Buffalo and now in New York City, we get out and meet with the new leadership to make them aware of the things that we can bring to the table for them to help them deliver on programs, and just to let them get to know us better and know what NYPA can do. So in that regard, We had a great meeting with the new leadership in New York City. We met with Deputy Mayor of Operations, Julia Curson, and executives from climate, environmental justice, and DCAS. DCAS, of course, we do a lot of direct work for. So we had a great meeting at City Hall, laid out the various programs that we can bring to the table for them. And we had a great discussion about what their priorities are going to be as a new administration and how NYPA's work might be able to plug in and address some of those priorities. So we also discussed with them our advanced nuclear work and transmission work, both with the Propel project that touches parts of New York City, and of course all the energy efficiency work we do, the EV charging work we do. And we highlighted a couple of programs that we have done for NYCHA, which they're very focused on, the new administration trying to help NYCHA out. So we made sure they were aware of our leadership on the Clean Heat for All challenge, which is the window-mounted heat pumps in NYCHA facilities, as well as the induction stove challenge that we ran to help NYCHA achieve its sustainability goals. And again, these projects reflect the kind of innovation and collaboration that will remain essential as the city pursues its aggressive climate and housing goals. We also continue to invest heavily in New York's clean transportation future through our EV infrastructure programs. Earlier this year, we unveiled and reminded the new administration that we did unveil 12 new chargers at LaGuardia Airport, the single largest bank of fast chargers in our network that supports about 100 drivers a day and complements the work at JFK Airport, where they see over 200 vehicles charged per day. We also highlighted that we opened a new Evolve network in downtown Flushing, serving more than 100 drivers a day there as well. And we have 66 charger expansion projects over the next year in Queens, Brooklyn, and the Bronx. And this will bring our Evolve New York network to over 350 fast chargers statewide. Finally, highlighting our work with DCAS and New York's public school system through our Solar in Schools activity. The picture on the right was a groundbreaking on the roof of the Marie Curie High School. 130 installations have been completed across public schools in the city, and 40 of them were delivered by NYPA. And we're partnering with DCAS on doing half of the remaining 86 schools with solar on the rooftop. So we're expanding that work for the city, and just great to see the engagement of the students when you go there and see how interested they are in bringing first of all learning about clean energy, but also bringing it to their school and being able to see how it works and how it will benefit them in the long term. But this customer work, of course, is not just limited to New York City. Our momentum moves at an impressive pace throughout the state. We've delivered, since the start of 2023, we've delivered more than 250 customer projects across 620 customer facilities statewide, generating approximately $31 million in energy and O&M savings. And these results underscore the scale of the partnerships we're building and the meaningful impact we're delivering for our customers all over the state. And of course, one of our most important customer groups are the municipal utilities and cooperative utilities. Last month, I spoke at the New York Association of Public Power, or NYAP, the group that continues to be one of our most important and enduring partners, and emphasize there our longstanding relationship with that customer class that gets some of our lowest cost power in the state. This is a historic relationship we have with the munis and co-ops, and they're very interested in learning more about clean energy technologies, how they can participate potentially in new programs or serve potentially as test beds for some of the innovative work that we're doing. They actually, munis and co-ops set up as a great test bed because sometimes they're smaller contained utilities that can test out certain technologies that maybe a larger system might not be able to deploy. So we work very closely with them. You can see here the amount of savings, 81% savings in 2025 compared to local electricity rates. So we always like to show them in real dollars and real figures what the relationship means to them in savings. So again, working very closely with them. They've saved 73% overall since 2021. So we talked about our, all the interesting work we're doing. Next Gen Niagara is a very important project for them because the power, comes from the Niagara facility. So they're fully on board and participating in our investments there to try to preserve that power for their benefit and the state's benefit, and even improve the operation of the plant through the over $1 billion investment that we've made there through Next Gen Niagara. And turning now to our economic development work. Of course, economic development programs are key to the work here that we do. One of our most effective tools for strengthening communities across the state is the low-cost power that we provide through our economic development programs. You can see from the slide here just the geographic reach of the programs. Nearly 1,000 businesses and institutions now benefit from our hydro and funding programs, supporting more than 450,000 jobs and driving more than $55 billion in capital investment across the state. And of course, these programs help employers stay competitive, expand operations, and invest in their local communities. And I can tell you just from personal experience, sometimes the economic development programs like Recharge New York, Trustee Warren and I went to a customer site. It really can make the difference between them staying in business or expanding their operations. So it's a key driver of business growth and economic development across the state. Moving on to our Supplier Diversity Expo that I mentioned. This just continues to grow. We do that NYPA and CANALs do our annual Supplier Diversity Expo here in Westchester. And this year we had 1,100 participants. I think the first time that I went, I think we might have had 400 or 500. And it just continues to grow every year, and we get really good feedback. The theme this year was energizing New York's economy, and it underscored what the event is all about, which is making sure that minority and women-owned businesses, service-disabled, veteran-owned firms, and small businesses across the state have direct access to programs, people, and pathways that help them grow. We also highlighted what some of our supplier development programs bring to the table. And this is an interesting, relatively new role that we're playing here. Last year, 324 people graduated from these programs, and they secured 147 NYPA contracts totaling $48 million, with the vast majority earned through prime contracts. And these results demonstrate how mentorship, training, and targeting technical assistance translates into real measurable economic outcomes for New York's diverse businesses. And together, the Expo and our development programs help ensure that the clean energy transition reaches more people, more communities, and more small and diverse businesses across the state. Moving on to nuclear, this is a program that was launched by the governor called Next Gen Nuclear Initiative. It's a statewide effort being led by NYSERDA. We're playing a key role in it, and this is focused on really developing the nuclear ecosystem around the state, both in workforce development and supply chain. We already have our nuclear workforce program, which will blend in and be part of this work, but we're participating in three areas: workforce development, public education and community engagement, and supply chain readiness. So on the workforce development front, of course, we know that the talent pipeline for this work is going to be key. So we're investing in targeted funding, student outreach, educational partnerships, and industry collaboration to ensure that we have the skilled workforce that we need to support advanced nuclear development. And this is going to include coordinating across K-12 schools, higher education institutions, labor organizations, and training programs. And they're all designed to align the curricula, credentials, and long-term career pathways with the needs of this emerging industry. Starting this year, NYPA will be partnering with qualified workforce development providers, including technical high schools, community colleges, universities, labor unions, and others to utilize the $40 million approved by the board this past December for this work. The funding will be awarded over a 4-year period to develop nuclear engineering, technical training, retraining, coursework, and apprenticeship programs to prepare workers for employment in the advanced nuclear field. And we're going to be releasing our first nuclear workforce RFA later this year, a similar pattern to what we did on the clean energy workforce work that we did, where our outreach efforts have been so successful in pulling in more and more workforce organizations as we look to spread that money around the state and around and to different organizations. The other piece that we're working on is the public education and community engagement work. And so that's going to be important. And we're going to utilize our visitor centers for this work. Later today, you'll consider a contract award to advance a restoration at the BG Visitor Center. And that's that, as you know, to those of you who've been there, it's long served as a gathering point for families, school groups, and community members across Schoharie County. And the renovation will modernize the historic barn, improve visitor spaces. And the link to the nuclear work is it's going to the part of the update will be a new nuclear energy education display that we'll have at BG there. And alongside this work, we're also developing a mobile educational display that will travel to classrooms and community events statewide, helping to build broader awareness of nuclear career opportunities and strengthen public understanding as this industry continues to evolve. And the third piece is the supply chain readiness. We're leveraging insights received through our RFIs to assess industry capabilities and ensure New York is prepared for future procurement and sourcing decisions. And this early work helps the state to move efficiently and responsibly as development progresses. Together, these efforts are critical to advancing the governor's initiative and reinforcing a central idea. As New York pursues advanced nuclear generation, we have to ensure that the jobs, training opportunities, and long-term economic benefits flow directly to New Yorkers to the most extent possible. And by preparing our workforce, strengthening public engagement, and readying our supply chain, we're laying the groundwork for reliable zero emissions backbone that will support the state for generations to come. Finally, before I close, just want to provide an update, and we'll hear more from Heather Adams. So I want to just kind of tee up the discussion for her. But on the renewables front, of course, the major focus, as we've been talking to you about, is trying to accelerate as many projects as we can to safe harbor and take advantage of tax credits as they begin to expire later this year. So we're prioritizing shovel-ready sites, securing tax credit eligibility, and applying safe harbor strategies that protect long-term value for eligible projects. At the same time, the scope of the potential development continues to grow. I've alluded to this in earlier discussions with you, that we continue to hear from project developers that are bringing projects to us for consideration that maybe we didn't hear from in the first couple of years of our efforts. So we've got another 5 gigawatts of proposed projects from qualified developers for possible inclusion in our next renewable strategic plan, which we'll be preparing in the near term. And this obviously reflects strong developer interest and confidence in working with NYPA. And as that due diligence progresses, we expect to integrate most of the viable projects into future updates of our strategic plan, which, as we've been saying, is sort of an iterative process. Each year there'll be changes to the strategic plan. We see a trend in growth of the plan. Obviously, as there always is, will be some attrition, but I think we're net positive in terms of projects that are coming into the pipeline. So we're really excited about the leading role that we're going to be playing in this area, particularly as federal support wanes. This is the time when organizations like NYPA need to lean in even more and try to get as many projects built as we can. So we also are making steady progress on solar. I know we've been talking to you a lot about that project. We've signed key equipment procurement contracts, are on target to break ground on the project ahead of the July safe harbor deadline. And as a reminder, we just recently launched our NYPA Renewables dashboard that we mentioned to you, I think, the last time we were together, which provides real-time insight into our development pipeline and remains an important tool for tracking progress. So maybe before I ask Heather Adams to come up, I'll stop and see if you have any questions about my remarks, and then I'd like to bring Heather Adams up to take a deeper dive into our renewables efforts.
Excellent. A great update and a lot of very positive themes there, Justin. So appreciate the drive-by. Hey, you just crystal ball it as you look ahead and customer interaction in general and affordability challenges and all the rest of that. What else do you see of any red flags, any concerns that you have as you look ahead for the balance of the year or beyond?
No, I mean, I think, well, it all comes down to, I think, our financial strength and how we can continue to bring more to bear on behalf of customers and for the benefit of the state. So I don't see any pullback at all in our efforts on behalf of customers. In fact, I think we see, potential growth there with new leadership coming into Buffalo, New York City, Syracuse, and other locations around the state that seem to be interested in working more with us. And we've got the project expertise and the procurement sophistication, if you will, to bring a lot to the table for those customers. And, as I look at the rest of the year, I think I mentioned to you in earlier discussions, three big things alongside the generation and transmission and customer work that is our day-to-day core business. Breaking ground on the Propel New York project by the end of the year is going to be big. Getting as many renewable projects in the pipeline and safe harbored as the credits expire, and then taking our advanced nuclear work further along as we continue to review and consult with potential partners and experts in the field, and watching closely developments in Washington there. So those are kind of the three big rocks in my mind, for the rest of the year here. In addition to, as Joe Kessler likes to say, the generation and transmission of electricity.
Yeah, and Joe, you've said, I know you and the team are meeting with Sean Ryan's group team in Buffalo and trying to lean in there further to, as Justin said, I know you had the New York City meeting. We're doing the same thing in Buffalo and elsewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we found that a lot of the new administrations, have ideas. They need a trusted advisor to kind of help them through some of those discussions. So we're having some of those early discussions with Buffalo as well.
Great. Questions for Justin?
Just an observation. One, Justin, you and your team should be commended. I as a trustee here, really appreciate both some of the consistent, excellent work, New York City, recharge, customer outreach, supplier diversity, canals. But there's also next gen nuclear. There's new emerging programs as well. So the array of engagement that NYPA does across the state, upstate, downstate, North Country, Long Island, Buffalo is impressive. So I just want to thank you and your team. And this deep dive, I know, Mr. Chairman, you had this concept a couple of months ago. This was absolutely perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Warren.
Anything else?
If I could, Justin.
No, you can't. Oh, no, but we will just let you.
I was gonna anyway. I'm really excited about the growth around the supplier programming.
That's a really great story.
How has that growth, how is that growth impacting goals, right? And changing goals because of the increase in participation. So the next time we meet, next time we talk about that project, I'd just like a little deeper dive into how we're leveraging that growth.
Okay. A couple of quick actions. Number one, a great story tell around the goals that the state establishes for this work. The amount of spend that we have on diverse businesses is just off the chart. So we typically it's our state goal. But I think on a day-to-day basis, it shows up in our procurement practices and our solicitations. And we see these companies that have come through some of our training programs that are now maybe not just being brought on as a sub, but they're getting a direct contract from us, which is always the goal, right? Is to start out maybe as a potential subcontractor, but as you get more sophisticated, you get to know NYPA better and get more familiar with our requirements and all. Then maybe they take that next step to be a prime contractor. So that's the goal. So yeah, we'd be happy to dive deeper in that and show you some numbers around that. But I think you'll be happy with the story that we've got to tell there.
Yeah, I think I am, and people are surprised that we are even in the game. still,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
And we've met so many companies and people that remember us for our supplier diversity expo. We just had a company in here last week that we didn't know we was at the expo
okay.
and was really impressed with the work there. So
That is similar reaction when I was looking at the 126 million. I remember it wasn't all that long ago. That number was a fraction of
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
In terms of
Right.
what the spend was. And yeah, I was curious the lag effect. I mean, 1,100 today, what that'll translate to 2-3 years
Right.
down the road. And frankly, what that does to their overall business sustainability. Obviously, that's our spend, but the benefits that they're deriving from the exposure experience and
exactly.
just the upskilling that we're able to bring them. Yeah,
Yep.
it's a great story. Agree completely. Anything else?
Just also a comment on workforce development and being aware and meeting the future where it is, which is in schools. And young people have very different ideas about energy, nuclear, and they understand it different, and they're not afraid of it, and they see it as future. So I'm always proud of the fact that the Power Authority does workforce development and reach out. But the school and the solar and how excited the kids were that this is on their roof.
It was so great
It's
to
so
see.
good.
Yeah.
And that's one school. So the bringing this and incorporating it and talking to schools and talking to students who are in engineering programs or trade programs that will affect not just nuclear, but nuclear is currently the next gen. But I just think it's one of the really good things that we do. And I hope that, kids, young people, students are out there going, hey, I'd like to see that in our school, or, I got an idea, right? So we're a magnet for that. And I think it's great.
I love the high school work too. And that's really where you want to kind of hook them, right? In
Sure.
high school, because it could, influence their career path.
You had a great anecdote yesterday
Listen to
about
them.
the student, the community
Yes.
college going to RPI, engineering, nuclear.
Nuclear.
Nuclear's not, your grandfather's nuclear. He's excited. He was a real advocate
He
for
was
us.
an advocate and so fresh, just he's so excited about his career path. He's going from community college into RPI. And I just thought, this is our future. And this is who we need to talk to.
So I went to 2 college campuses and met with the group called Nuclear is Clean Energy, or NYS.
Sure.
College kids, one Columbia and UB. It was fun to see the level of engagement there too, that you wouldn't have expected maybe
Yeah.
10, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And they are the future. And I whatever outreach we can do, connect with universities, connect with trade schools, connect with both of these, connect with kids in K through 12, which we're doing. I think we have to keep doing that
Yeah,
always.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Okay.
bring Heather up?
Otherwise, Heather. Yep.
Heather?
Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, Justin.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good
Your
morning.
debut performance.
My
here
debut performance.
at the podium. So welcome.
No pressure. He's easy.
No pressure.
All right. Good morning, members of the board, colleagues, and people of the public. My name's Heather Adams, and I'm our Vice President of Renewable Project Development. This morning, I'll provide an update on the development and implementation of NYPA's Renewable Energy Generation Strategic Plan, an update on the federal landscape and tax credits, a statement of alignment between important processes, and then finally, I'll close with a spotlight on one of our projects. As you may be aware, the latest update of the strategic plan was approved in December of 2025. It included 5.5 gigawatts of projects, including 3.5 gigawatts of solar projects and 1.2 projects of storage projects. As we heard Justin mention earlier, the team's currently conducting initial due diligence on an additional nearly 5 gigawatts of projects for potential inclusion in the next update of this plan. It was anticipated we'd experience some shift away from solar as investment tax credits sunset, But I'm pleased to see that in addition to the 3.5 gigawatts of solar projects that are already in the strategic plan, developers of nearly 1.6 gigawatts of solar projects are still interested in partnering with NYPA. The submissions under review also include 2.9 gigawatts of storage projects. We expect the storage portfolio will continue to grow as developers pivot to these projects where tax credits are not due to begin phasing out until 2033. We're also evaluating 20 megawatts of self-developed projects throughout New York State. Next, I'll walk through a summary of how we're executing against the current strategic plan. So we have nearly 1 gigawatt of projects in various stages that are prioritized for assessment in that plan. They're in various stages, but what they share in common is that one, most have one tier, the tier one RECs for offtake, two, most are safe harbor from an equipment perspective, and three, most are in the later stages of development. We also have 4 projects totaling approximately 600 megawatts that are in advanced negotiation stages. 2 of these projects have exclusivity agreements in place and continue to progress towards closings in Q2 and Q3 of this year. And what I'm really proud of is the collaboration between NYPA and these development partners. We really worked together in early execution during this exclusivity phase to ensure tax credit, safe harboring, as well as any other areas where NYPA's expertise and experience could be leveraged. Also near exclusivity on a project that's greater than 200 megawatts, and it's considering NYPA customers for offtake. And then finally, NYRED's provided bridge financing for the Hannah Croy project, a 5 megawatt solar reach project located in Greene County. The finance has allowed the project to progress to 60% design just since we made this announcement in March. Moving to projects in the implementation phase, I heard Justin mention the Somer project earlier. The module supply agreement was signed, and yesterday's breaking news was that we have all permits required for construction. Design and procurement also continue to progress on the 3 NYPA self-developed projects to achieve safe harboring. A contract was signed, deposit sent to secure tax credits for one of the projects, and we continue to make progress on a similar milestone for the other 2. And owner's engineers have been awarded for 2 of the projects, with 1 out to bid currently. And as announced at the March board meeting, you can continue to be updated on status of updates at our website at any time on our dashboard. At the December NYPA board meeting, we shared multiple federal actions that created challenges for renewable projects during the second half of 2025. The first was phase out of federal tax credits, which you've heard a lot about. Now to receive the tax credits prior to July 4th, 2026, roughly 1.5 months from now, wind and solar projects over 1.5 megawatts must begin construction, which can be off-site construction, or under 1.5 megawatts must experience 5% spend with specific requirements. And regardless of size, these projects have to be placed in service within 4 years. If that July 4th threshold is not met, the projects must be placed in service prior to the end of 2027. The second was that additional rules were created around foreign entities of concern, or FIAC, that certainly continued to challenge and strain the procurement process. And then third, from a permitting perspective, the Department of the Interior and the Army Corps issued several directives that essentially put wind and solar permitting on hold. They suspended access to what's called the Information for Planning and Consultation Software, or IPAC, that enables required determination of project impacts on habitat and is required to submit for a permit application in many cases. They added senior political review layers, and they imposed a capacity density standard that systematically disadvantaged wind and solar projects. But what I'm pleased to share is that on April 21st, a federal court blocked these directives with a preliminary injunction. We're optimistic. We're seeing processes begin to reopen, but there's certainly risk of appeal and a lot of uncertainty around process that we're continuing to monitor and consider alternative actions if necessary, where they do impact our projects. With the July 4th deadline that I spoke to looming, the team's been hard at work on securing tax credits for as many projects as possible and ensuring that capital can support as many megawatts as possible being built. As I mentioned earlier, I'm proud to say that we've secured tax credits on the Stoneworth project and 2 projects under exclusivity with contracts and technical support for off-site construction of the main power transformer. We've also made deposits on modules to achieve safe harboring of one of the self-developed projects under 1.5 megawatts under the 5% rule. Now that from a tax credit perspective, equipment procurements and offsite construction have been locked in many cases, the team's working to ensure that we meet that 4-year required in-service date that I spoke to earlier to ensure we finalize the tax credits. We continue to add staff not only within the renewables team, but also within NYPA project delivery and many support organizations to design, construct, and maintain the facilities. I'd also like to update you on alignment between New York State processes and organizations. While the NYSO cluster process has been successful in removing phantom projects from the queue to be able to focus resources on projects with higher probability of successful development, one of the challenges has been that significant financial commitments have been required earlier, without knowing whether a NYSERDA Tier 1 REC has been awarded for offtake for the project. With the 2026 procurement, NYSERDA took a step to align processes such that the bidder will know whether they were successful prior to financial commitments following phase 2 of the cluster study completion. We really appreciate these organizations making the change that will allow developers to make more informed decisions and be more effective in capital deployment. And then finally, I'd like to spotlight the Hanacroy solar project. As mentioned earlier, we're participating in development of the 5 megawatt project located in Greene County in NYSO Zone G. We expect to generate approximately $6 million in REACH credits over the life of this project. The project has an executed interconnection agreement. It's been extended to the end of 2027. We've received all major state permits. There's no federal permits required. Providing initial financing for its remaining pre-development activities, it's allowed the developer to bring on an additional construction manager, continue negotiations on key equipment procurement, and like I mentioned earlier, progress the design to 60% in short order. NYPA's also onboarded an owner's engineer for the project earlier this month. And then the next step is to support material procurement and design progression to be able to file for a local building permit. And while risks still remain, the project's currently on budget, on schedule to be placed in service by the end of 2027 to achieve safe harboring of the project. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
Okay, thanks, Heather. Can you roll back to Chris to the first slide, your pie charts there? When we first started down the renewables path, we had a lot of discussion about, my words, managing expectations in terms of what our capacity, what we could deliver versus what the market, the populace wanted us to deliver. 15 gigs was a magic number and all the rest of that. Help me or help us understand what we should expect here will come out the other side of this. So we've got another almost 5 gigs under submission here, under review. What's our capacity here, whether it's financing, whether it's execution? What do you guys think in terms of managing expectations as we look ahead here, our ability to deliver?
Yeah, so I think, Adam, I don't know if you want to speak to the financial capacity
Or in
item.
general, I mean,
I don't-
capacity in general, I
And
mean,
then I could speak to
yeah.
some of the other
Yeah,
capacity items.
so it's a little bit depends on the project and whether or not we're having partners or not, because we're 51%. That gives us obviously
Right.
more to do. I think the big plus for us was securing this $200 million from the state. So between that and the 300 million we are committing, that's going to give us the ability to really, leverage up our borrowing capacity for these projects and get as much, a lot more than we initially thought. So we could be doing, at the end of the day, realistically, 3 or more gigawatts, to be done, in the near future with more to come. And, again, remember that as these projects go in and once they start operating, generating revenues, all those additional excess revenues that are not used for reach or otherwise will be recycled back into NYRED to be used for other projects. So there will be a recycling effect of the money over time. So we'll be able to continuously be building so long as we have good viable projects that, pencil out financially.
Yeah, and I would just add from an operational perspective, that's why we're looking to grow, not just our own team in development, but we do have a shared services agreement with NYPA, and we've had tremendous support, right, from organizations that have delivered billion-dollar projects around NYPA. So we're very confident in the capabilities of our partner teams to help support that internally, as well as you heard earlier about the supplier diversity expo. I was blown away attending that event at the number of partners that we have. They're willing to work with NYPA on project execution. So I think we certainly have the partnerships in place to execute.
Because I'm doing my math right here. We're looking at 10 gigs up here, right? I mean, we stiff armed the idea of 10 gigs a couple of years ago when we started down this path. We're getting a heavy push. 15, part of our point was we're part of the solution, da, 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 da. I mean, this just furthers, how other partners are coming to us. The 1 + 1 = 3, the ability to really deliver here, right? I mean, to me, this is an incredibly positive story. I just want to make sure I'm not missing something, or we've got the ability to execute and deliver in collaboration with an increasing number of very strong and major player partners, right?
Yeah, correct. And I will add the caveat, these are submissions under review,
Understood.
correct? We will probably continue to see
It'll
more
whittle down.
submissions come in prior to the next update, but we may review some of these and they may not be
But we
viable.
clearly
for
opened the
those.
windows a lot
But-
more wide open than we originally anticipated. We were stepping our way in here, wanting to be a little more measured in our initial, right? And making sure I've got this and.
You've got it. And I think you nailed it. I think that we're seeing more opportunities. We're overall bullish on the role that NYPA will play in this field. And I think that it's only going to grow as more developers are now more interested in working with us, given the changing dynamics.
Value and benefits of
And we're getting better too.
Yeah.
And we're going to be able to deliver more over time. So as I mentioned earlier, there's always going to be projects that fall out, but but new projects are coming in and net, I think we're going to have a major impact here.
To me, it's a great success story. I just want to make sure it's highlighted because this is a significant ramp up from where we were, no more than a couple of years ago, not even, right? So, yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, that's terrific. A strong debut, Heather. Way to go.
Okay,
You're bringing it. All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Any
you.
other questions before
No.
Heather steps down?
Thank you, Heather.
All right. Thanks so much. Okay. On a roll, Joe.
On a roll.
Another tough act to follow. Thanks, Heather. And thank you, Adam, for stealing Heather from operations to do this work.
One team, Joe, one team.
One team. She's doing great, and I'm really glad she's over there. So thank you and good morning, trustees, chairman, colleagues, and members of the public. Today's presentation is centered around the customers and the longstanding partnerships that we have built together. I'll highlight some of the NYPA and CANAL's initiatives that have delivered value for decades. and how we're evolving to meet the customers' changing needs and how the investments in the resilience and sustainability directly benefit the communities we serve. So on this slide, you'll see that we have been serving customers since the whole world was in black and white. So this is actually the re-signing of the Alcoa contract, I think from 1981. I was around in 81. I think there was color, but as I remember, but just a demonstration of that our first customers go back to the 1950s with Alcoa in the city of Plattsburgh. So we've had longstanding history. Our programs, which expanded through the years. Corning Corporation, which produces products that most people are familiar with, Corning Gorilla Glass, Pyrex. They've been participating in a Recharge New York program, which kind of a predate to that, was called Power for Jobs since 1997. So 30 years they've been participating in our programs. They operate facilities in various regions across the state, and products reaching far beyond New York, and as a matter of fact, internationally. And also in 2025, close to 80% of the customers that have been eligible to renew their contracts have re-signed with the New York Power Authority. And on the energy services side, we've also been helping customers optimize the energy they use for nearly 40 years as well. So even beyond that, so energy efficiency program started in 1987 with the Watt Busters for community and co-op customers, expanding to lighting throughout the 90s and growing into a portfolio to more complex, comprehensive energy projects. So you'll see boilers and chillers and things like that in this portfolio now. Our teams are now returning to facilities we updated more than 3 decades ago. Technology has changed, so we're changing with them. And as they update their systems from what we updated originally, we continue to be with them. Metropolitan Hospitals pictured here. We completed the first lighting project, our first lighting project there in 1991. So we're back in there now, doing some upgrades to that lighting system. And NYPA, the New York Housing Authority, we've been working with since the 90s as well. They're back in those same buildings today, continuing. We are again back in those same buildings today, continuing to update and modernize those. So recently celebrating the Clean Heat for All Challenge, where we partnered with the NYSERDA on a cost-effective, non-intrusive heating and cooling retrofit solutions. That's also pictured here. We are seeing the evolution in solar and EV technologies, partnering with the MTA on overhead pantograph charging stations. If you have an opportunity to take a tour of those, they're fantastic. They're very modern looking, very cool. So they're updating their electric fleet and leveraging our product development process, where we're aligning products and services offerings with our customers' needs, which is essential in a rapidly changing energy technology environment. Customer participation in our energy efficiency, transportation, electrification, and renewable energy programs continue to grow, and with both current and work and future project pipeline increasing. And you'll see as we go through this year, we'll be bringing things to the board to continue this by renewing existing or expiring contracts for value contracts in 2026. So you'll see that coming up as these costs are fully recovered. We want to make sure we have a pipeline of suppliers that can help us get this through. Overall, the value of NYPA is bringing to customers is significant. In 2025, annual savings for hydro customers range between 35 and 50%. For economic development customers, that's around 80%. And for municipal and co-op customers, as compared to the local IOUs. And NYPA is able to secure savings in the CNE customers, supplied with market power through effective hedges and asset optimization. In 2025, over 70 energy efficiency projects completed, with our customers saving them over $8.5 million annually in energy and O&M costs. Justin spoke about this a little bit. As we look beyond our traditional power customers, we'd like to shift focus to the canals. Justin made the comment that our founders wouldn't have recognized the Power Authority 95 years ago. From what it was 95 years ago, I would say if you retired 10 or 12 years ago, you might not recognize the Power Authority and some of the things that we're doing. And it's all great stuff. So this is our goals here, is just to make sure that canals remains a vibrant asset for communities across New York. The maintenance is not behind all this, and Justin talked to us. I won't repeat some of the things that we did on the cleanup here, but we did open on time on May 15th. But as most of you know, and we do talk about it, there's a lot of work that goes ahead of that in the winter. That is very difficult and challenging, and our team was working tirelessly throughout that challenging winter to get that done for on locks, lift bridges, infrastructure, navigation aids, all to get it in place for the boaters from around the world. And finally, travels in the canal systems and local canal side residents will have the opportunity to experience many free programs, including Albany Symphony Water Music Series, the Return to Buffalo Tour, which is the Buffalo Maritime Center's Erie Canal Boat Seneca Chief coming back and continuing on the canals programs. Each month, as the navigation season gets underway, programs ramp up along the canals. We also saw for Earth Month, as Justin added earlier, the opportunity to care for the waterways. In what what Justin didn't mention is what we saw was between people who signed up and actually just showed up, between 1,200 and 1,300 volunteers came to help us out with this. So it was really a great community effort for the Parks and Trails Bureau. So building on those Community and Earth Month activities, we're going to even further to protect, restore, and enhance the natural environmental on the canal system. 30 by 30 Habitat Restoration Initiative. We're looking toward the canal system's third century with our 300 for 300 initiative. I said 30 by 30, I'm sorry. Energy on my mind. 300 by 300 initiative aims to transform 300 acres of canal lands into thriving pollinator and wildlife habitats by reducing mowing and cultivating the meadowed areas. So we're promoting biodiversity, strengthening the local ecosystems, and preserving the natural heritage of those waterways. That program was launched in the fall of 2025. And the first 15 acres identified for reducing mowing, setting the stage for long-term environmental stewardship. And an additional 45 acres on which to reduce mowing this year was also recently approved. And this will save us more than 700 hours annually of labor that we can allocate towards the other higher value tasks that are important to keep the assets safe. And embankment maintenance, you see a cool picture here as well as the clearing with the goats. That's coming back. So we're managing hundreds of miles of canal embankments at no small task, especially in the steep, overgrown areas. It's challenging from a technical perspective and also from a safety perspective. But these goats like to do it, and they'll eat anything, poison ivy, poison oak, sumac, without any harm. So by letting the goats handle the hard to reach vegetation, our crews can focus on maintaining the embankments in areas by reducing emissions and supporting greener maintenance approach. The goals will be back again this season too, roughly in June. So more to come on that as well. And speaking of cross-pollinating, we're thinking about this in terms of the utility side as well, because there's a lot of difficult areas in our own assets and dam maintenance and the utility side where goats can help us. And then, of course, accessibility, which I consider kind of the product of the
We're
canals.
gonna have a NYPA goat farm.
I think we're gonna have a NYPA goat farm. I think that's the idea, is to have something like that to deal with some of the more difficult areas there as well. Our embankments are very steep. If anybody's been to some of those embankments, they're very challenging for us to get to. It's unsafe. And we do have to manage the vegetation there to keep those embankments in good sound order. So this is a great novel way of doing
Goats will travel.
Goats will travel.
So since we're interrupting you, Joe.
Yeah, go ahead.
We started the goats last year, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the first year?
It was.
So it went well.
It went well. It went well. And like I said, they'll eat anything.
Goats were happy. You were
know,
happy.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody's happy. Goats are fed. Everybody's happy. So, and again, it just enhances and frees up resources. We're actually taking a more progressive approach on our vegetation management as well. There was a traditional way of looking at this when these plants and even the canals were built where everything was so groomed. But now it's more natural looking, and that's better for biodiversity. So this also enhances that look as well. And then again, I said, I think from my perspective, the way I think about the canals and the public and our customers and the people that we serve, it's really about accessibility. And so there's a number of different things that you can do on the canals, but you have to be able to get there. And on Tuesday, April 28th, the Hudson Crossing Park celebrated an opening of a new accessible kayak launch with a ribbon cutting ceremony. The new launch is located in Champlain Canal Lock C5 Island and is meant to give water access to people with all abilities. As an On the Canals initiative, this project was supported by the Accessibility Education Program, which is the partnership of NYPA Supplier Diversity Group. So another shout out to you over there, Eric. I know you've been nodding over here. On the utility side, I'll talk about the serving our customers. Of course, the product there is really availability and reliability of our energy system. So while our canals environmental initiatives are vital, our core mission depends on resilient infrastructure. So I'll turn to how NYPA invests in reliability and preparedness directly support the customers and communities. So NYPA provides affordable clean energy and strengthens communities we serve by investing in resilient physical infrastructure, enhancing the grid security, and advancing proactive crisis management strategies. So first, we focus on strong relationships with our customers and our governmental partners. Through regular communications and ongoing engagement, we share the latest information, coordinate on best practices, and work closely with state, federal, and local agencies to maintain strong security and resilience posture. And I'll get into the relevance of that in the coming year here as well. Second, we emphasize comprehensive planning, drills, and exercises. We have to drill and exercise so people are familiar, they have the muscle memory to respond to these different initiatives. We'll engage with all of our municipality electric utility association partners and the New York Association of Power, Public Power, NYPA, which Justin was at this actually a couple of weeks ago with me up in Saratoga to talk to them about these things as well. So everyone understands their roles and can quickly respond to when there's an issue. And finally, we prioritize information and resource sharing. We conduct proactive outreach, site familiarization visits. I encourage everybody who's involved with the New York Power Authority, from the trustees, we'll get you out there, to the staff. Being out there and physically seeing the infrastructure and what people are contending with as we try to protect it is very important for context. So these efforts are, and we do this with external stakeholders as well. So together with these efforts to ensure NYPA and our partners are prepared to protect infrastructure, our customers, and the communities we serve. So resilience is inseparable from security. And with the evolving local and global developments and major upcoming events, we must maintain a posture of heightened vigilance. I'll now walk through how we're bolstering our physical security framework to ensure the long-term resilience of our operations and safety of our customers and the communities we serve. So as you may have heard, America's 250th anniversary, as well as the FIFA World Cup, will be hosted in several venues locally. These events will bring large crowds and increasing activity to areas where we have significant infrastructure. So we're planning well in advance with our public safety and emergency partners to protect those areas as well. We're closely monitoring fuel prices, production levels, and inventories, and we're using hedging strategies to secure power supplies for our merchant and New York City governmental customers. We are also conducting summer preparedness workshops and severe weather restoration workshops and for our customers, and to ensure readiness for high demand and storm related events. Finally, we are strengthening our capabilities through ongoing training, drills, and exercises, both internally and with external stakeholders. You'll see here that we include participation with our New York State Dishes K9 Week and use of robotics for situational awareness, and together enhance our abilities to detect, respond to, and manage the threats, maintaining reliable service to our customers and communities. And in case you blinked, we are through spring. It is hot, it's summertime, so I just want to touch on that. We are prepared. We did a lot of our internal summer preparedness for our assets as well, and continue to monitor the projected weather conditions for this year. And NOAA's estimates for this year suggest that the highs will be lower than typical, but we are still going to have a hurricane season with predicted 12 storms, 6 hurricanes, and 2 major hurricanes. So we're looking to be prepared for all of that, especially in the Southeast region. And with that, that concludes my remarks, and happy to answer any questions.
All right, thanks very much, Joe. Questions for Joe? Thoughts? Goats and dogs, kind of like
Goats.
an animal.
Real and otherwise.
Yeah, good. All right.
Good. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Joe.
Joe. All right, financial picture. Trends look encouraging, Adam. Good discussion of finance 10 days or so ago, but recap for us, please.
Sure. Good morning, Chairman, trustees, my colleagues, and members of the public. Yes, we had a good conversation at the finance meeting, and we do have the April numbers, baked in here that we did not have at that meeting, which really has not changed the picture. It's more of getting back on target with our, meeting all of our budget, net income numbers and revenues and expenses, all in line with our earlier projections. As we recall, in the beginning of the year, we started out with some issues with the Niagara curtailments and ice related problems there that caused some difficulty for Niagara, but luckily the other areas of NYPA, made up the difference and got us back to where we are today. April was pretty much, from an operating income basis, was right on target. there was a pickup in the mark-to-market on our investment portfolio because of interest rates going higher in the market based on the events happening in the Middle East with Iran and Strait of Hormuz and all the impacts of that. So, that's something that we have to keep our eye on, but that'll self correct over time, as it's not a realized loss. It's just a negative mark on the portfolio. But it will provide some investment opportunities too. As we deploy more of our investments, we can get into a better yielding investment over time. So we'll take advantage of that opportunity there. No questions on that. I'll go to the full year of the sort of what it looks like by profit center. As you see, Niagara right significantly below where the target was. St. Lawrence doing much better than anticipated. Some of that has to do with, we talked about Alcoa earlier on in our new contract. One of the things that we did in this contract is it used to be, as their prices are tied to where the price of aluminum is at any given point. So it's a very unique contract, but that had a cap on it before, so that the price that they would pay would only go up by a certain amount. Part of the renegotiation, we removed the cap, and as it turns out, the price of aluminum is at a 10-year high or whatever. We haven't seen since like 22. There was that little blip there, but given everything that's going on geopolitically, things like aluminum and other commodities, so they're doing well. They hedge it, we hedge it, but we're benefiting from that higher price there. BG continued to do well and better than expected, and some of that is continuation of some of the themes we saw last year with just a lack of imports available to us from either Canada or the PJM market. Fossil fuel units doing better. The peaking plants that were needed during the winter that helped outperform. And as we mentioned, also we had a pickup from the sale of fuel, which was again a positive for us, how we manage the fuel between oil and gas, and transmission doing slightly better. Some of that is a result of HTP doing better than was planned based on the ability to sell into Zone J at a higher price than was getting from PJM. At the end of year projection is still within our target to hit where we set out this year, but everything seems to be going well there. We'll have a true up in the middle of the year for transmission revenues. We'll go through that process, so we'll come back in the summer and give an update where that will all come out. But otherwise, everything else seems to be really well controlled and going according to plan.
Super. So we had good discussion 10 days ago.
Yep.
So
yeah, if any other
Good recap.
questions. Yep.
Adam, just one question.
Yep.
So what's your current forecast for interest rates for the second half of the year? Have you built in a rate cut at some point?
No, right now, up to now, we've been, counting on basically no action and just waiting for things to settle down. Now we're starting to tilt towards, if the situation prolongs itself that we see in the Middle East, it'll be harder to recorrect that. And the inflation concerns are leading people to believe that there could be a higher risk of a tightening between now and the end of the year. So we're not discounting that or putting that off the table. So a lot of it's just going to be timing of how long this persists, because even if it gets straightened up tomorrow, the supply chain impact is going to continue to make its way through. The increase in oil prices, gas pump, and everything else is going to have an impact on the economy going forward. The question is just how long, and how long will it get self-corrected?
We also have a new Fed chair this case morning on Friday.
Yep.
This Friday.
Oh, the other thing to mention, just because we haven't hit on it yet either, we're talking about New York City prices. So the capacity prices in New York City hit a significant number of $30 for May. But what big development has occurred is that the Chippy line has gone into service. So we see that having an impact on bringing down capacity prices to, I guess, looking at $8 over the next few months. So it's a significant drop and a significant good timing that, given the warmer weather, having Chippy, because that's really where their capacity resource is being pegged to, the summer months. So having Chippy going online is a significant benefit for New York City. And, we have some role in that actually lands on our property and we own a small piece of it. So we're actively involved in making sure that the project is going as expected. Yep. And just to talk about things we're doing for the customers, I know we spoke about how our senior governmental contracts helped our customers through the winter. The other things we've done for our customers is this RNY unbundling, and that's just giving them better information as to where their costs are going and how to better control their costs. So that is an IT project working closely with Rob and his people. We were able to get in production and helps Maribel and her team explain different issues to the customers on a regular basis. But given the winter outages and the effect it had on a lot of our customers where we were purchasing power in the market and passing it through to them, and that was obviously higher than they had planned, we've allowed our customers to pay that over time and smooth it out so that they can better prepare to make those payments and do what they need to do. So we've been working with them to create these sort of smoothing of the increased costs and help them budget for it in the future for both the communities and the co-ops, and as well as Westchester and other economic development customers. We also have an annual adjustment factor for the rates for some of our economic development customers, and those would have been 3.5% this year. What we've done is working with those customer groups, agreed to cap that at 2.5% and let the 1% carry over into the following year. And either that will, take place then, or if prices come down, they might see an offset where they won't even have to pay that additional 1%. So it gives them, again, more time to prepare, budget, forecast. So doing everything we can to limit the impact of the higher prices we're seeing in the market for our customers where possible. Justin mentioned earlier about all the projects with the New York City and the schools that we're doing. So unlike our other renewable projects, those are ones where we are, we don't own the solar. We work with a developer and we do it as a back-to-back PPA. But as those projects actually go online, they will go into that prepaid vehicle we did last year, and they will receive a 10% reduction on their PPA prices as they get completed. So as those 40 plus projects Justin was mentioning happen, they'll see a further reduction in prices. So a lot good happening there. Any other questions?
Just full of good news today.
It's great news. On the reduced rate action, will that'll impact the recharge customers as well? So they will get a break this year.
Yes.
That's how.
Yes.
Right.
Santa Claus.
Okay.
All right. Thanks,
you.
Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
Good work. Well done. Alexis, managing and navigating the asserted risks that come with our success and challenges. Give us a drive-by.
Sure. So trustees, colleagues, and members of the public, our risk spotlight this month is going to carry on our conversation from this morning around our customers. So our enterprise level customer-related risk centers on the choices that our customers and stakeholders may make and our role in addressing their needs. The aggregated risk score at the enterprise level is low. It's a 5 out of 25. The risk is within appetite, and our risk controls and mitigation score is in the green zone, which means it is being well managed versus the current level of exposure. On the right side, you can see the themes that underlie this risk are quite naturally how we manage relationships, how we stack up against other options, and how we balance demands and offers. There are complex dynamics that are here, and that was a driving force for updating the Vision 2030 pillar to ensure a customer-centric strategy. We have a long history of providing low-cost and reliable energy. We need to maintain and build upon that. So how are we doing this? We have strengthened account management and product development. We're focusing on the customer's experience And so we're advancing our use of data to better advise them. We're enhancing communications to better clarify their expectations, to foster needed trust, and to show what they're saving by being a NYPA customer, as Justin and Adam have explained earlier today. We're seeing evidence of our increased performance in our achievement of first quartile J.D. Power's customer satisfaction scores. But most of all, these improvements are making us better positioned to help our customers manage through the prolonged and rapid changes that are occurring against the energy landscape and the cascading impacts to them resulting from this. As we move forward, we're continuously monitoring the markets and engaging with our customers to understand their changing priorities and needs. We've heard loud and clear that affordability is top of their minds as we all feel the pressure of inflation, observe rising energy prices and volatility, and weather through the stress of supply constraints. You've heard this morning from Adam about many of the ways we're assisting our customers, such as through spreading their costs over longer periods of time and providing bill stabilization. In addition, careful monitoring has been enabling us to execute on opportunities such as the energy arbitrage for BG, again, that we've also reported over the past few reporting periods. We'll continue to stay on top of evolving federal and state policies, advancing technologies, the progress of additional suppliers, such as wind, solar, and Canadian imports, and potential new large load customers, such as manufacturing and data centers that are all coming into the mix. But of course, risk management considerations between us and our customers are not limited to just one enterprise level risk. We can go to the next slide, please. In fact, there are customer-related drivers and impacts spanning across multiple risk categories. This includes what we pose to our customers as well as what they pose to us. So as we execute on our strategy and identify and manage risks to the authority, we understand that we are also protecting our customers and their interests. Some examples, I'm going to pick on something that Joe started with earlier around operational risks. So our protections to prevent or respond to an event, whether weather related or otherwise, ensure that we can continue operations, which means that we can ensure to protect the reliability of the energy and the services that our customers are relying on us for. We look at regulatory changes and understand how our customers may be impacted by the impacts that we feel. As a result, we have shared earlier through the year about how we employed a federal transition working group to help us understand, engage, and monitor some of the changes from supply chain, through tariffs, through impacts on projects and energy interests throughout the state and throughout the US. We take that knowledge and we had a specific customer related work stream where our customer operations team stayed in touch to understand what they were feeling and what some of their concerns were. That allowed us to understand that and be able to address it, as well as also to prepare ourselves. Also, coming back to nuts and bolts, just basic safety, the protections that we put in place for our workers and for the public, of course, affect our customers. A great example here is those who are recreationally enjoying and using our canals. And on the other hand, our customers may be a source of risk or a driver to us. So we've talked a lot about affordability. On the flip side of that is credit worthiness and the risk that our customers may pose to us if they can't afford to pay. We look at partnerships and stakeholder interactions. We undergo continuous reviews and monitoring in partnership with SSM. Our REBA tool allows us to understand Dun & Bradstreet scores, supplier risk ratings, and helps assist us with our eligibility screenings. Most of the time, we find that our customers don't have any flags. If they do, they're quite minor, and that puts us in a position to be able to prepare for and work with them. We talked from a competitiveness perspective just before about changing needs and expectations of our customers and how we need to be prepared to evolve our own offerings with their needs. The converse of that is that when they make changes or if they make changes, that could impact our work plans and our human and financial resources that we have prepared in order to serve them. So it's something that we also keep in mind. That is also a flip side of Federal Transition Working Group, where we understood if there will be any impacts to our work portfolio. Reputation and brand, whether actual or perceived. So how we interface with our customers and how they feel about the services we provide are really important. They help to create our brands out in the public and can impact future work. And then finally, cybersecurity and data privacy. We've heard our CISO, Vic Costanza, talk in the past about the Collective Defense Consortium that is bringing together ourselves with our 50+ electric, municipal, and cooperative customers to look at collaborative understanding assessments and develop mutually beneficial solutions and best practices in this space. It includes looking at cyber incident response. It looks at taking vulnerability assessments and sharing with our federal and state partners to identify any gaps and to see if there are any further protections. And it allows us to look at collective defenses, especially in the OT or operational technology environments. The key takeaway from all this is that from a risk management perspective, strengthening the resilience of ourselves strengthens the resilience of our customers and vice versa. Any questions?
Cyber, obviously it's top of mind. Give us a little bit of an update on what we're seeing, where things are, what is happening with us. I don't know, give us a little more of a.
I'd like to phone a friend named Vic Costanza.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Good morning, everyone.
Or whatever.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Vic Costanza, Chief Information Security Officer. Morning, everyone. Yeah, so we continue to stay ahead of the global threat landscape, looking at geopolitical threats, staying ahead of the latest vulnerabilities, just making sure that our overall attack surface is managed to prevent opportunistic threats from the various threat actors. And as Alexis mentioned, we're working very closely with our customers, with the CCDC or the Collective Defense Consortium for just this, to basically protect the broader electric ecosystem and public power community. So what we're doing there is, working with our municipalities and cooperatives to increase cybersecurity awareness and cyber hygiene, making sure that best practices are being followed to secure their environments. We're holding incident response exercises, not only for ourselves, but with the muni and co-op customers to help them to be ready to respond and recover from cyber incidents and advise them on no-cost solutions that we can help provide with them to bolster protection against evolving threats. So by protecting them, we're also protecting us. And as Justin and Joe mentioned, we attended the customer meetings, such as the New York Association of Public Power, where we can collectively trade ideas and best practices across the sector to basically address cyber challenges, stay ahead of different needs for our environments, and continue that voice of the customer initiative, to strengthen cyber readiness across the broader ecosystem. So yes, we are staying ahead of it. The threats don't go away, but we continue to stay proactive and keep our kill chain in order, both for us and our customers, to prevent future threats.
And what do you see, Vic, in terms of just volume and level of activity? Is it ratcheting up? Is it more threatening? What's your editorial on where we find ourselves today?
Yeah, it's consistent, but we do see an uptick in scanning, opportunistic scanning for vulnerabilities that may be present in the environment, like basically software flaws or open, ports, services, things that are on the external facing edge of the environment to see if they can actually access some of these services and penetrate. So we're stopping them at the first level, level of the kill chain. Nothing's getting in beyond that, but it helps us to also learn what they're targeting so that we can share that out with other public power customers to protect against these potential threats.
I'm just going to ask, do we find our customers more vulnerable? Are they better prepared? What can we do to better help our customers?
So through the consortium, we're helping to provide them with tools and resources to better protect their environment. What we typically see is that they don't have the same level of resources and funding for these tools. So through these initiatives, we can help them be at the ready and identify these types of threats and vulnerabilities before they become targeted so that they're not in the news. So we've been successful so far in that realm.
I know, Justin, you mentioned, you guys were together over the weekend here. It's a hot topic, right?
Very hot. It's on everyone's mind, and Vic and his team do a great job, but it's hard to keep up. So you just have to make sure that you've got good systems in place, because they're always coming up with new methods to try to get into your system. But yeah, it's top of mind for everybody, and with all the geopolitical tension right now, everybody's sort of on a heightened level of alert.
And if I could add, I think one of the things we continue to do is invest in active monitoring, looking at the landscape, whether it's geopolitically driven in terms of risks and vulnerabilities, but with, as you've heard in previous meetings around AI, what kind of risks are they? And B, I know you've been.
I was gonna say,
especially-
AI is on the list as well.
So we're actively monitoring. We proceed with caution in terms of not only the technologies that we deploy, but who has access to the data, how that data is being used. In a previous meeting, we talked a little bit about that. So there's a lot of emphasis on very active monitoring, not only around the threat landscape overall, but the usage. How are people using the data in real time? Who has access? So we'll continue to invest in accessibility to the intelligence we have, and also protecting it and making sure that we have resiliency and recovery. Because, Chairman, as you've mentioned before, it's not a question of when or if, it's a question of when.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is we continue to exercise. In fact, we just did this past weekend, exercised and actually performed pull the plug disaster recovery tests. So I think in combination, that really speaks to the whole customer resiliency, but also NYPA's ability to ensure our continuity of our services. So it's really a collection of things that we have to actively monitor and to demonstrate in real time. I know it's a little expanded beyond the question.
No. Well, obviously front and center for all of us. And yeah, whether it's geopolitical, whether it's AI, I mean, we know we're in the crosshairs, and the exposures just continues to elevate. No reason to believe it's going to do other than continue to rise. So yeah, how we mitigate that risk and how we manage it as best we can, or prepared to play defense, as needed.
Yeah, it's about how we continue to deliver services under non-typical environmental circumstances, right? Whatever the cause. So if we can't continue, we can't deliver.
And as we continue to add partners to the inventory of people that we work with, it only heightens the entire situation.
Strength in numbers.
Yeah, and if I may
Yes.
add as well, from audit perspective, that's part of our plan, is to look at cyber resiliency in each audit, whether we do a cyber focused audit or looking at customer facing audit. So that's part of our big plan. And obviously AI, we talked about that as well. So that's from an audit perspective, we've got a pretty thorough plan, and we're also engaging external parties to bring in some of the expertise.
Yeah, great.
Excellent.
Yeah, how to knit it all together.
Yep.
All right, super. Any other questions for Alexis or anybody? All right, great job,
Thank you,
Alexis.
Alexis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Justin, Heather, Joe, Adam, Alexis, Vic, Rob, thank you very, very much. Really strong and compelling story for how focused and committed we are to serving our customers. So speaks well and very well done. Well delivered. As we referenced a couple times, rather, we had a good finance committee meeting 10 days or so ago. And we've got a handful of recommendations for us to consider today, first of which is our regular $29+ million allocation of funding, in support of Canal Corporation for third quarter of this year. Also based on current budget and forecast, authorizing the release of up to $60 million in support of Western New York economic development funding through the end of calendar 26. Also had contingent staffing agreements, extend them for another 5 years with an aggregate amount of up to $60 million there as well. A specific contract into Luck Brothers for the amount of just under 20 million, $19.5 million. And then a 3-year contract to LaChase Construction, getting connection with canals and dams work of $22 million. So those are the 3 recommendations that came out of finance for approval here at board. Unless there's any further discussion, I ask for a motion to recommend those for approval. Laurie, thank you. Dennis, second. All right, thank you very much. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We have the consent agenda. Excuse me, everyone had an opportunity, hopefully, to review the materials that were presented to us. If there's anything, Maribel, you want to highlight in there? Get your moment in the sun here.
Just so you know, Chair, I did ask Maribel to talk a little bit about the recommendations made by the Northern New York
Power proceeds.
Economic Development.
Yeah.
Yeah, that group. Right. Thank you.
Oh, no, and we appreciate your inquiry, Trustee Morris, and trustees appreciate the time as well. We did look even deeper into your inquiry, Trustee Morris, about the North Country Dairy. And it has.
Could you speak up just a little bit?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Apologies. There has been a little bit of local news about the Deer River and businesses that are discharging into that area. The applicant is one of a few businesses that discharge there. The DEC has been expressing concerns with, the pollutants into that river. The applicant itself is asking for funds. We're recommending $1 million for their $5 million project that will actually install machinery and equipment to help remedy their discharge and actually get them future ready as they expand to not only meet but also exceed DEC discharge criteria. So filters, aeration, blowers. The equipment that they've listed is actually going to help them be one of the better community conscious businesses in that area. And so with additional due diligence, we still feel that the recommendation would stand and we support the application.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's important to make sure people understand that the applicant wants to use the proceeds to make life better.
Absolutely.
And remediate as much as they can their contribution to whatever's happening on the river.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Trustee
that,
Morris.
Maribel.
Yes.
Okay. Unless there's any other questions or comments, I'd ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Michael, second, Dennis, first, second, whatever. Lisa, sort that out. Thank you very much. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Well, unless there's any other matters to come before us at 10:31 on Tuesday morning, I'm pleased to bring this meeting to a close. Thank you very, very much, everyone, for attending and participating. Great story, great work, team. Continue to deliver for the benefit of our customers and all we serve across this great state. Our next meeting, we're back together end of July, Tuesday, July 28th. The note says officially. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy the sunshine for the next couple of days before it cools off again, but warmer days are ahead. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day and ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So move collective,
Everybody.
and all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. We're out of here. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.